everyone. In the last session I have started with module 3, that is JavaScript client-side scripting. There we have discussed about what is JavaScript, what can it do, and also how JavaScript is used as client-side scripting languages when it is compared with other client-side scripting languages. So in today's session I am going to discuss about the topics like JavaScript's history and uses, JavaScript's design principles, and uses without JavaScript. Okay, so let me start with the first one, that is JavaScript's history and uses. So we will start with the first one, that is JavaScript's history and uses. I have listed few points in order to understand better. JavaScript was introduced by Netscape in their Navigator browser back in 1996. Originally it was called LiveScript. JavaScript is an implementation of a standardized scripting language called ECMA script. Can you understand? It was introduced in the year of 1996 by Netscape and it was called as LiveScript. JavaScript is an implementation of a standardized scripting language which is called as ECMA script. Internet Explorer did not support JavaScript. Earlier, Internet Explorer was not supporting JavaScript. Microsoft sometimes refers to it as JScript. In initial days in 1998, JavaScript was slightly useful, annoying to many users. It means JavaScript was not having many users. Some of the uses of JavaScript in the initial days, I mean to say, and applications were graphic rollovers, pop-up alert message, scrolling text in the sidebar, opening new browser windows, pre-validating user data in online forms. All these are the uses of JavaScript. In the middle of 2000, with the emergence of Ajax sites, JavaScript became more important part of WebScript. Ajax, which is the combination of asynchronous JavaScript and XML. XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. Ajax refers to a style of a website development. So, in order to develop a website for styling purpose, we are using an Ajax. Ajax refers to a style of website development that make use of JavaScript, okay, to create more responsive user experience. We will move on to next topic, JavaScript design principles. Yes, even JavaScript had a bad reputation for being difficult language for many users, because it has distinct disadvantage of blending JavaScript and HTML together. That is, which decreases the code readability and also increases the difficulty of web development. By considering all these reasons, we can say that even JavaScript had a bad reputation. Hence, we are supposed to articulate certain design principle to improve the quality of the web development, in the sense to increase the readability, reusability, to make it more understand, to get more maintainability. We are supposed to articulate certain JavaScript design principles. So, I have listed some of the design principles. So, how to design a principles? That is what, whenever we are designing a software to solve some problem, means we are supposed to develop a conceptual model before implementing it. How to develop a conceptual model? First, that can be achieved via layers. So, Which are all the layers available to develop a conceptual model which is a solution to a problem? How means there are three types of layers. Presentation layer, which classes focused on the user interface. In the sense, it is used for the purpose of user end. Business layer, classes that model real world entities such as customers, products and sales. Next one is data layer, classes that handle the interaction with the data sources. So all these layers can be used in order to develop a conceptual model. That is what layers. In that, let us move in detail about these layers. First one I am going to take presentation layer. So presentation layer means which is used or which is focusing mainly on the display of information. JavaScript can alter the HTML page which results in changes which is visible to the user. Okay. Some of the applications or the presentation layer application includes creating, editing, hiding, showing the div. Okay. So allowing multiple tabs, opening multiple tabs in the window. Okay. Likewise, using a mouse pointer to view the page. So likewise, which is concerned mainly on the display of information. So next is about validation layer. So validation layer is used for validating logical aspects of JavaScript. For example, you can think of you want to send a mail. Okay, we are supposed to enter a mail ID. So if the mail ID is invalid means we cannot send a mail, is it right? So this is what a mail ID which we have entered should be validated. So that is what validation layer is going to do with the support of presentation layer. So this is about validation layer. Next comes about asynchronous layer. So even JavaScript operates in synchronous manner. Synchronous manner in the sense, if client sends the request to the server means after receiving the response, it is going to execute the next line of code. Okay, that is what synchronous manner. Likewise, JavaScript is going to work in an asynchronous manner also. Asynchronous manner, how it is going to achieve means, it can route the request to the server in background. Okay, so that is what asynchronous layer. So asynchronous layer, we can say it is an advanced version of presentation layer and a validation layer. So now you can look into the figure how actually different layers can be viewed. Next, we will move on to the topic users without JavaScript. Okay, so what will happen if the users are not using JavaScript? In the sense, JavaScript is not enabled. So what will happen? Web crawler. A web crawler is a client running on behalf of search engine to download your site. Okay, so that it can be featured in their search results. Browser plugin, it is a piece of software within the browser, okay, which is going to improve the capability of the browser. Okay, text based client, some clients are using text based browser, widely used on web servers. Visually disabled client, if a client is visually disabled means he is going to use special web browsing software to read the contents of a web page out loud to them. Since he is visually impaired, so he has to listen, is it right? So these are all the uses you can notice where you are not, without the support of JavaScript it is going to work. But the thing is, the output which results using JavaScript will be having better enhancement. So even though without the use of JavaScript it is working, but still with the help of JavaScript, if these things are occurred, means it will be more effective. Okay. If in your code, if JavaScript is enabled, means if you want to disable the JavaScript, means you can use a tag in the HTML by using noScript tag. So within this noScript tag, whatever the content you use, and you have to close this noScript. So by using this type of tag in your HTML program will disable the JavaScript operation. Next is about graceful degradation and progressive enhancement. Yes. So the principle of graceful degradation, in the sense, develop your sites for the abilities of the current browser. Okay. So whichever the current browser we are using those browser, by thinking of the capabilities of those browser, we can develop a sites. Okay. If a user is using older browser, what happens? The developed site is supporting for the current browser. If the user is using older browser, means obviously we are supposed to provide an alternate approach to visit that site using older browser. So it is going to graceful degradation. Graceful degradation means you can look into this figure where it shows how the site is visible using the current browser, in the sense modern browser, and also how the site is visible which is degraded using the old browser. So this is what graceful degradation. Okay. So graceful, in the sense, without popping out the JavaScript error code, it is going to display the same site using older browser. Okay. So degradation, in the sense, it has lost some capabilities. It is not similar to the site which is developed using the current browser. That is what degradation. So this is graceful degradation. Again I will repeat, when a website is developed using the current browser, if at all user is having older browser, how actually the site is going to vary. That is what graceful degradation. Okay. So next is about progressive enhancement. Here this is an opposite approach of graceful degradation. That is, developer creates the site using CSS, HTML and JavaScript features that are supported by all browsers, in the sense which is opposite to graceful degradation. If a website is developed using older browser, how actually the website is going to link, I mean to say web page is going to display. And if the user is using the current browser, in the sense new browser, how actually the same site is going to progressively enhanced in the visuality. That is what progressive enhancement. So now you can look into the figure where the main site is displayed using the older browser and the same site is displayed using the current browser, in the sense newer browser. That is what progressive enhancement. Next we will move on to a topic, where does JavaScript go? So where does JavaScript go, in the sense, JavaScript can be linked to an HTML in many ways. Okay, so how we have linked or included CSS to an HTML using inline style sheet, embedded style sheet and external style sheet. In the same way, we can embed JavaScript within an HTML using different styles like inline, embedded and external. So running JavaScript in our browser requires downloading and loading JavaScript code and then running it. Pages with lots of JavaScript code potentially runs slowly and also results in degrading the experience of user where it takes a time to load the page. Different browsers manage JavaScript downloading and loading in different ways. We have inline JavaScript, embedded JavaScript and external JavaScript. So before moving with these types of JavaScripts, first you have to understand about JavaScript possibilities, in the sense how actually input and output can be performed in JavaScript. First is about inner HTML. This is about writing into an HTML element. Writing into an HTML element. Next is document.write. Here document is an object and write is a method used to writing into an HTML output. So this is used for outputting. Next is alert. So this is used for writing into an alert box. Next is console log. This is for writing into the browser console. Next is confirm. So here when you make use of a confirm, you are taking a decision, either yes or no. Likewise, I can take an example like this, where question confirm, do you want to continue? Want to continue downloading. Example like this. When you use this statement in this way, when you run, an output will be displayed like this. Do you want to continue downloading? So you will get two choices, OK and cancel. So this is how you can make use of a confirm for performing interaction. Either OK it considers, cancel means it will be not considered. So next is prompt. So this is also one of the function used for reading an input from the keyboard. How means, for example, where name is equal to prompt, inside that enter your name. Enter your name. Then here prompt method takes two arguments. First one is whatever you want to print it on the screen, and the second one is empty, so that whatever you give as an input, that will be passed into this variable. So now how it is going to work means, I can show it in this way. Enter your name. Okay, so you will get an input box like this where you can enter a name, and here you will be having OK and cancel. So after entering the input, you have to press OK to confirm it, or if you give cancel means you can change the input. So this is about how actually in JavaScript an inputting and outputting can be done using these methods. So in future you will get into these methods while performing different types of tasks, so that these points should be in your mind. Okay. So coming back to inline JavaScript. So what is inline JavaScript? It means that including JavaScript directly within the HTML page. That is what inline JavaScript. So let us take up an example for illustrating inline JavaScript. So what is inline JavaScript? Again I will repeat, including JavaScript directly within an HTML page. Okay, so now let us take up one example. So start with an HTML root tag. There, head, you can give title, and it is illustrating inline, right? Inline JavaScript. That is the title. Now close the head, open body. So inside a body we are using input type. Okay, so what I want? Button. Okay, then on click document dot write. So within that I am giving some examples. 10 plus 5. Okay, then I will give try it and also close input type. Now close body, also close HTML. So now what you can notice from this means, we are starting with a root tag, then head which consists of title, inline JavaScript. Within a body, this is what? Inline JavaScript. Inline JavaScript. This is inline JavaScript. So when you run this program, you can look into the output where in an input type I have given a message try it. So when I click on the try it button, what happens means it direct, see when I click means it is performing on click operation, right? So for on click what I have assigned? Document dot write. So document dot write in the sense which is going to print it on the screen, HTML output. So what is the output it is displaying? 10 plus 5. It performs some addition. So finally when I click on try it, on click gets activated. Here I have assigned to print this value. Finally an output you can notice it is 15. So this is what inline JavaScript. Okay, so now I am going to take one more example on this. Going to use an anchor tag, href equals hash, then on click I am giving alert welcome welcome, then close these double quotes. Here you can give some label, try it. Now close the anchor tag. Close body, also close HTML. Now when you run this program, see, you can look into the output, how it is going to display. You will click on the try it. So when you click on the try it, on click gets activated. There it is going to alert a message welcome. You can notice the output, how it is going to display. Let me take up one more example to illustrate inline JavaScript. That is, you can notice for an hypertext reference, I have passed JavaScript to open a window. When you run this program, you will click on try it button. So when you click on try it, you can notice one window is opened near it. When you click on that window, you are performing click operation, right? So on click gets called, there it prints an alert message saying that are you sure? So this is one difference you can notice using this example. So this is all about inline JavaScript. It is about embedded JavaScript. So what is embedded JavaScript? You are going to embed a script, JavaScript, inside a HTML within script tag. For example, see here, script. So now here you are going to give a JavaScript code. That is what, for example, I will take document dot write hello. So now close script, also close head, open body. You can give some message, hi. So close body, also close HTML. So now what has happened here, this is very simple example to understand embedded JavaScript. That is, see, embedded JavaScript in the sense you are embedding the JavaScript within an HTML using script tag inside an header part. Okay, so within header you have to open a script tag, there you have to give a JavaScript code. I am taking a very simple example to print some hello message on the output screen. Okay, so that's why I have used document.write. So after closing head, in a body I have given one paragraph saying that hi. So now once if I run this program, you can look into the output, how actually it is going to print it on the screen. Okay, so now one more thing you have to understand. See, whereas in embedded JavaScript, so not only a script should be inserted in an header part, nothing like that. Even you can add, or I mean to say embed script within the body also. So that is also going to work here. For example, title embedded JavaScript. So close the title. Now close head, open the body. Okay, so here open the script. Here you are going to give a JavaScript. So there, give a message, hi, welcome. Now close the script, also close the body, then close HTML. So after writing this program, once you run, you can notice the output, how it is going to display. So this is about embedded JavaScript. One more changes I want to show you, that is, instead of document.write, if you take alert, how it is going to print. See, notice the output, how it is going to display. This is what alert has been working. Okay. Next we will move on to external JavaScript. External JavaScript in the sense, you are supposed to take a JavaScript externally to an HTML document. So that external file should have an .js extension. So once we make use of an external JavaScript, it will be more advantageous because code is more readable and it is user friendly, because the JavaScript code will be in another text file. So it will be easier for an programmer to debug and for maintenance also. Code reusability will be more flexible once you make use of an external JavaScript. Okay, so let us take up an example of external JavaScript. Again I will repeat, external JavaScript in the sense, the JavaScript code is placed in another file which is having .js extension, and that external file we will be embedding into an HTML file. Okay, so through an HTML we will call that external file. That is what external JavaScript. So there is more benefit of making use of external JavaScript. Why? Because whereas in inline JavaScript and also in case of embedded JavaScript, the JavaScript and HTML codes will be written in the single file. If you want to debug, it will be difficult for you. Is it right? Since both will be in the same file. If we make use of an external JavaScript, means HTML will be one file and JavaScript will be in another file. So it will be more useful for better maintenance and also to debugging. So that's why external JavaScript is more benefit. So let us take an example how to implement external JavaScript. So this is in title, I am using external JavaScript. Okay, now close head. Okay, so now one more thing, in here we have to use script tag. So here you need to mention what type of script you are embedding to your HTML. So text type is JavaScript. So JavaScript is case sensitive, you have to write properly. Then, so which file you want to use it inside your HTML file, that source file name. For example, I am having a file name example.javascript. See, EG stands for example file name, JS is an extension, JavaScript file. So now close script, also close head. Next you have to open a body. Within a body I am going to take an example of form. So input type is equal to button, then value is equal to result, then on click is equal to calling a function display. Finally, I am going to click me. So then close input. So I am going to continue here. Also close form, also close body, then close HTML. Okay, so this is our HTML file. Now we are supposed to write also a JavaScript file. What should be the file name? eg.js extension. So what you have to do means, this is an HTML file, right, which have .html extension. Okay, so whereas this is JavaScript, it should be a text type. Okay, so you have to open a text document and name a file .eg, and which should have an extension .js. So now our node text or notepad is opened to type the text. How I am going to type the text here means, I will have written function display. This function definition I am going to write here, alert hello. So nothing else, only JavaScript code should be written there. So finally save this file and close it. Coming back to the HTML, so how it is going to work? See, this line is implementing external JavaScript. You are including your JavaScript file to your HTML. So inside a body part, when you click on click me, you are performing click operation. So now when you come to the body part, then called result, when you click on that result, on click gets activated. There it is calling a function display. So this function display is not written anywhere inside our HTML, right? So now this is a function which you are calling to your external file. That external file is included to your HTML. This is what external JavaScript. So now display function is called, there it is printing an hello message. So this is how actually external JavaScript is going to work. So next is about advanced inclusion of JavaScript. So what is this advanced inclusion of JavaScript? In the sense, imagine a moment a user is using a browser where a JavaScript is disabled, and is going to download a page where the JavaScript is embedded. So he is going to download a page where an JavaScript is embedded, but he is using a browser where the JavaScript is disabled. So can that page gets downloaded since it has been embedded with the JavaScript? No, it will not be working, is it right? So this is one scenario, and the second scenario is that assume a user is using a browser where a JavaScript is enabled, okay, and he is having poor network connection, in the sense internet connection. In that case also he has to wait for pages to download. It takes a time, is it right? So if this is the case, means it will not be more user friendly, is it right? So user should take more time in both of the scenarios to download a page. In such cases, in order to make more benefit for the users, there are two solutions. One solution is that loading all the JavaScripts into a iframe. So one solution is that loading all the JavaScripts one by one into the iframe tag. Second one is that loading JavaScript within another JavaScript file. So these two are the solutions whenever the user has some problem while loading a page. Next is syntax. Here how actually what is the syntax we are following while writing the JavaScript code, that you can understand here. Yes. See here, since JavaScript is also one type of object oriented programming language, in the sense it is having few object oriented features, is it right? So it is also be considered as a object oriented programming language, where It has common syntax of other programming languages, like how you declare a variables, how you use a functions, how you use a control statements, how you use a looping statements. Same thing can also be operated in JavaScript also. So some of the rules you are supposed to keep it in mind while coding the JavaScript. That is, first thing is, everything is case sensitive. Everything is case sensitive. Okay, for example, variables, classes, methods, objects, so on. Those are all case sensitive. Second one is variables declared in block is not supported. In the sense, if you have declared a variable inside a loop means that variable is accessible outside the loop also. That is what variable declared in block is not supported. Okay. So next is, there is an operator like this. So this is not only for checking the equality, it is also used for finding type equivalence. Type equivalence. So next is, there are two values like null and undefined. Which are two distinct states for a variable. Which are two distinct states for a variable. Next is semicolons or optional. Okay, semicolons or optional. It is not required or it might be permitted. Okay. So there is no integer type. There is no integer type. Only numbers. There is no integer type, only numbers. So this is how some of the syntax rules have been framed. Next is variables. Variables in JavaScript are dynamically typed, in the sense the type of value it is going to hold can be assigned at runtime or can be changed at runtime. For example, you may take a variable of integer type, later it can be a string or it can be a object. Okay, so there is no point of declaring a variable like int variable or a char variable or a string variable. So no need of taking a data type at all. So directly you can take a var, okay, that illustrates you are going to declare a variable and then give a variable name. So this statement is going to define one variable which has no value. In the sense, by the default, when you declare a variable like this, the default value of this x will be undefined, and in the sense the value is not defined. Now, if you take where y is equal to 0, what has happened? You have declared a variable where it is assigned with the value 0. Next, in case this is y is equal to 4. So here you have not used any where, right? So what is happening here? You are assigning integer type of value and that is going to be assigned for the variable y. So this is all about declaration of variables. So variables in JavaScript are dynamically typed. Next is about comparison operators, or you can call it as a Boolean operators, since after performing the operation, the result will be in terms of true or false. So here I have listed certain comparison operators. When you use this operator, it is going to check for equality. For example, I am going to write an example here. Okay, so equals. Assume 9 is equal to 9. So whether it is true? Yes, they are true. So next take another example. 4 is equal to 9. So both are true? Both are same? No, it results to false. Okay. So next is this operator which checks for exactly equals including type. For example, 5 is equal to 9. So the type of data is same, but the type of value is same? No. So it is false. And I am going to take in this way. Type of value is also same and type of data is also same. So it returns true. Next is lesser than and greater than symbol. For example, 4 less than 9. It is true. Okay. I am going to take 9 greater than 15. Is it true? No, it is false. So lesser than and greater than or equal to. So for example, 9 lesser than or equal to 9. That will be true only. Likewise, not equal to. For example, 7 not equal to 9. Yes, it is true. Not equal to. This not equals in either value or type. For example, 8 not equals to 9. So this is true only. It should be not same in value and also in terms of type. Okay. So this is about comparison operator. Next is logical operators. So logical operators are used to combine two relational expressions. So here we have three types of logical operators, that is logical and logical or and logical not. Okay. So first one I am going to take a logical and. So true, 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 false, false, true, false, false. Whenever both the operands results in true, the result will be true. If one of the operand results in false, so the result is false. This is logical and. So coming to logical or. So what happens here? True, 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 false, false, true, false, false. So now what happens here? In case of logical OR, if one of the operand returns true, then result will be true. So it is true only. Next is logical NOT. So logical NOT is in unary operator, it has only one operand. So when operand is true, result will be false. When it is false, the result will be true. So next is about conditional operator. So as you all know that you can make a decision using decision making statements, or you can say it as a conditional statements, which are those if else, nested if, else if ladder. Is it right? So let me take up an example program to illustrate conditional statements. So let me take up an example by reading the input as hour to make a decision whether it is a morning or afternoon or evening. So to do that, I have taken two variables, hour of day to read an hour, greeting to print a message whether it is a morning, evening or afternoon. So I have given a condition if hour of day is greater than 4 and hour of day is less than 12. So greeting will be good morning. It is morning. Okay. Next, else. If this condition is not satisfying, it goes to next condition and checks hour of day is greater than or equal to 12 and hour of day is less than 20. So, greeting is evening, that is it prints good evening. Else, if none of the condition has been matched means greeting is, sorry, this is good afternoon. This will be good evening. Okay. So, this is about conditional operators, sorry, conditional statements. Okay.